Hello friends, welcome to my channel English Literature and Language. In today's video, I will be discussing with you the metaphysical poetry in English literature. I basically upload videos on English literature and other literary aspects. So if you want this kind of videos and want to get help, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so that you stay updated for my upcoming videos. Now let's start it. Before starting the video, I would like to tell you that I was thinking to upload a video on the poem The Good Morrow written by John Donne, which is essentially a metaphysical poem. But somehow I changed my mind, thinking that it would be better to first explain metaphysical poetry so that you can have the idea about it before approaching a poem of its kind. So in today's video, I will be explaining briefly the salient features of metaphysical poetry. Now you know very well that we need to know background or history before approaching some piece of literature. I will try my best to describe in a simplistic way so that you can approach it well. Look, the Elizabethan age was the prolific age of drama and poetry, and after that there was a great decline in drama as well as of the ideals. The output of poetry was very low in this period, I mean after the Elizabethan period, compared to the production of Elizabethan poetry. The Elizabethan poetry was treating love and friendship with great vigor. Now this type of poem I am talking about, which means the metaphysical poetry, emerged as the reaction to that Elizabethan poetry. They also deviated from the Petrarchan and conventional structure of poetry. This metaphysical school of poetry was highly intellectual and you can say full of wit. In this new kind of poetry, you can perceive the presence of more of the intellectual play of fancy. Another striking point is that in this time there was plethora of prose writing, which is another cause of decline of poetry. You will get to know about Milton's greatest prose during this period. Now, one thing which you need to remember is that it was Dr. Johnson who first used this term metaphysical poets to denote John Donne and his group of poets while talking about Abraham Cowley in his book Lives of the Most Eminent English Poets 1779-81. Please note the name of this book, which is also very important for your NET examination. Before Johnson, John Dryden also understood their metaphysical poetry as nice speculations of philosophy. Now please note the names of the poets included in the group of metaphysical poetry. They were John Donne, George Herbert, Richard Crashaw, Henry Vaughan, Thomas Carew, Abraham Cowley, and Andrew Marvell. Their poetry greatly bears the striking qualities of metaphysical poetry with some exceptions. If you understand the salient features of this poetry, which I am going to explain now, it will help you approaching the poems of this kind. Let me define first the term. Before defining the term, I am extremely sorry that I have forgotten to include this text in the presentation, so please manage it and somehow you can note it down in your paper. Meta means beyond or above, and physical means the physical world. Their poetry was concerned with abstract and philosophical ideas such as love, religion, faith, God, beauty, spirituality, existence, and so on. Their views and conception regarding the philosophy of universe and human beings' existence were very unique in thought. They used to present their thought in their poetry in a peculiar way. The first point is intellect. Now I will describe in a lucid manner the characteristic of this kind of poetry. They were handling their feelings with intellect. In fact, in metaphysical poetry, feelings and emotions were expressed through the play of intellect. Presence of intellect can be seen more than the presence of the appeal to the senses. If you cannot get my point, let me give example of the two lines from John Donne's poem The Good Morrow. Let maps to other worlds on walls have shown. let us possess one world, each hath one and in one. I am sure you will very well understand that these two lines correspond more to the intellect than to our senses. They were analysts of their own experiences and emotions. They were mainly concerned with their own psychology of mind. One of the most finest and striking qualities of this kind of poetry is the presence of conceits. The poets showed their expression through the far-fetched conceits. Now you need to understand what conceit is. Conceit is a combination of two dissimilar things. Let me give here another example too. Look at the lines. Whilst my physicians by their love are grown, cosmographers and I their map, who lie flat on this bed. The resemblances between dissimilar things are between the physicians and the cosmographers, and between the patient and the map. In the poem The Given Heart by Abraham Cowley, the poem compares a lover's heart to a hand grenade, which is very startling. Novelty in thought. As I have told you in the beginning that these poets did not write in conventional manners, so they were always concentrating on something new, something which was never spoken before. They put their ideas in a way to the readers that sometimes it seems peculiar. In Petrarchan traditions, women were shown as goddesses, but these metaphysical poets rejected that idea and presented women as fickle-minded and faithless creatures. Next, hyperboles. To write unconventional things and to make it look noble, they often used too many hyperboles, which means exaggerating something trifling matter. And sometimes it seems absurd to the reader when they could see, John Donne's comparing of a good man with a telescope. Next is dramatic and conversational style. This particular kind of poets presented their thought sometimes in a dramatic manner of speaking. For example, if you look the lines of the poem The Canonization, "For God's sakes hold your tongue and let me love," you can see well the tone of the lines. Next is imagery. The poets used extended images to convey their meaning to the readers. They were so intellectual to an extent that they used much imagery not for beauty but to fit in their poetry. Please note the important information that Emily Dickinson, a famous American poetess, followed the metaphysical tradition of using extended images. Among the metaphysical poets, the technique of rhythm as well as the use of imagery is inseparably fixed to the artist's background of thought. Now wait, Dr. Johnson himself said the metaphysical poets were men of learning. If you explored their poems, you could observe their wit in their manner of their presentations of their knowledge through geography, medicine, science, and classical mythology. Blend of passion and thought. Their poetry bears the excellent mark of the perfect blending of passion and thought. It has been clear to you that they used to present their thought analytically. Their passion drew them to write something unconventional and striking. The deep-seated love expressed through intellectual ideas of the poets makes it an outstanding quality of poetry. The next feature is obscurity. I know it is going a little bit long, but I need to discuss it thoroughly so that you can get adequate help. The last point is, as you can see, obscurity. Due to their analytical and intellectual thinking and using of so many conceits and hyperboles, it sometimes seems obscure. Their thoughts are proceeding in such a speed that it takes time for a reader to fully grasp it. So friends, this was the detailed analysis of the metaphysical poetry, and I am quite sure you will be able to answer your questions in this regard. If you still have any problems, do let me know in the comment box. And if you want any particular topic to be covered or even any topic on Bengali, then feel free to ask me. See you in my next video. Thank you for watching.